Hello, everyone, and welcome to Whirley Popping Through Quarantine, our second episode. And today we're going to make some kettle corn. Our basic ingredients for tonight, we have the corn, sugar, oil, and then salt. So we'll go ahead and get started. Alright. So this is a really easy one to make. So we're going to get our Whirley Pop over here. And then we're going to start off by adding 4 tablespoons of corn. Alright, so we have that. And then just 2 tablespoons of sugar. And these can be heaping tablespoons, so just kind of overfill those a little bit. And then last but not least, we have our canola oil. In this, you can do just about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit less, again, just enough so, everything's not sticking together. Alright, so we have our basic ingredients in there. And then just if you remember from our last episode, we talked about the CPI, or inflation. And, give me 1 second. All these ingredients that we are using have just gone up in price by a very small amount, but inflation at work, so we have our whole recipe is gradually getting more expensive by that 1.4%, maybe more by the next time. And a lot of inflation is actually driven, in addition to the money supply, driven by people's expectations, which is really interesting. And inflation has been really low for the past several decades. Really, 1980s, I think, was the last time we saw any inflation that was over the Fed's target. So people just have the expectation that really, regardless of what happens in the economy, inflation will remain low. And that's part of what's keeping it low, is that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. So, and then the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about this, when I was making popcorn last night, actually, I was thinking about, not only does it taste a lot better than microwave popcorn, it's a lot cheaper than microwave popcorn once you make the initial investment of a Whirley Pop, or if you just use a pot, that's even better, because that's something most people probably have at home already. So after you make that initial investment, I would say each batch of popcorn is probably going to run you maybe at most 10 to 20 cents. And then the other thing is you don't have all the waste of those microwave packages, that come there's the box it comes in, and then there's the plastic wrap that goes around the bag, and then there's the popcorn bag itself, and that's a whole lot of unnecessary waste that we can virtually cut out of the equation. So it's cheaper, a lot better for the environment. It doesn't have that kind of off flavor that, I don't know if you've experienced that with microwave popcorn, but to me it always kind of has that weird flavor. You can instantly recognize, oh, this is microwave popcorn, and they've tried to mask it, but for me, everything that's microwaved kind of has that off flavor to it. So anyways, a lot of benefits there. And then, well, we kind of have these ingredients in here just ready to go. The other thing I wanted to talk to you all about today is actually time value of money. And this is a really interesting concept to me, because it essentially, what it means is that $1 today is more valuable than $1 a year from now, let's say, or really any time in the future from now. And there are a few reasons for that. and you all can probably guess because we've talked about one of them, inflation. So a dollar today is worth more inherently than a dollar a year from now, for instance, um, because of inflation, which will really degrade the value of that dollar over time. So, in reality, a year from now, the value of that dollar, you're maybe getting 98, 99 cents optimistically. Instead of today, you're getting, a dollar. Kind of a real life application that I see of that is when it comes to, I mean, not a lot of people win the lottery, but when they do, they have the decision to either take a lump sum, which is, granted it's reduced, and you have taxes, and you're going to be in that highest marginal tax rate for a lot of that income if you take it on, which Biden has proposed the highest tax rate now will be in the neighborhood of 38 or 39%. And then corporate tax is also going to be higher. But anyways, that's one reason maybe you wouldn't want to take the lump sum. And then the other option, of course, is that you get it spread out over 30 years or something and get it in monthly installments, and then you get a larger amount. But with that, there is the downside of that's when that notion of time value of money comes in. Because if I take the lump sum now and I invest that, well, now I can earn a lot of money on my money, whether that's, a conservative 7% in an index fund in the stock market, for instance, or even just more conservative investments that are less risky, like bonds or certificates of deposit, anything like that. You could do and really assure yourself these continual gains and potentially just live off the interest and not even touch the principal. And that's if you take the lump sum. Now, if you spread that out and say, hey, I want it over 30 years, well, number one, you might not live 30 years. You may not live long enough to collect all those funds, and they're probably banking on that. Number two, you're allowing the government to invest all those funds in the interim, and really they're going to reap the benefits of that, and not you necessarily. So, and then the other example of time value of money that I actually use in my own personal life is taxes. There are a lot of people that would rather pay a higher tax rate up front and then receive a refund at the end of the year. Well, the concept of time value of money tells you that that's the kind of the irrational thing to do, because you're allowing the government again to really get a free loan from you, invest that money, and they're gonna make all that interest off your money. Whereas you could do that by figuring out, let's dial in the number of exemptions. That means, hey, I'm not overpaying, and getting a huge refund a year later. I'm also not underpaying, so I don't have to budget and know that I have to pay them back so many thousands of dollars at the end of the year. But if you figure out, hey, I am just going to pay the right amount. I'm going to take all that money that they, maybe would have otherwise or in the past were holding on to for me, saving for me without an interest rate. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to invest it. Well, now all that money that you would have gotten back as a refund, maybe, at the end of the year, I know people are excited about, hey, I'm going to have a $4,000, $5,000 refund. Well, that is awesome. But in reality, you could, have that be, instead of $4,000 or $5,000, that could be, $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 that you are having or benefiting, I guess, by taking that money sooner and then investing it each month and earning that interest that the government otherwise would. So, one example of time value of money that I think is really relevant for people, and always consult a tax professional, of course, but That's just my 2 cents on taxes, is paying, trying not to overpay, and giving the government that free loan, and also, not underpaying. So having that good balance there, and then investing that money, the extra money that you're receiving by adjusting your exemptions, and then investing that. So, anyways, we'll get back to the popcorn here. So we have all our ingredients ready, and now we're going to go ahead and put that on the stove here and turn that up. You can cook this on high. I forgot to say that last time, but you want this process to happen quickly. Keep the tops closed to retain all that heat, because once the popcorn starts popping, you really want it to pop all at once, so you get that good even distribution of the ingredients we've added to it. So you might not, it'll be hard to hear me for just a minute, but then we'll have some delicious popcorn to enjoy. And if you're doing this with